As we come to the end of Prime Month, there's one more figure that I want to touch on, this being probably the most controversial figure in terms of its release. This being a Haslab that had a fair few QC issues. It was well received and both not. Fortunately for me, my copy of the figure wasn't too bad until the later half of this year, where a couple of parts decided that they were going to snap on me. Of course, talking about the Haslab Victory Saber. And here we have Victory Saber in his combined space shuttle mode with all the bells and whistles that came with him. I must say, this guy looks absolutely impressive in his shuttle mode. And sadly, before I could even get to it, he falls off of the stand. Since he has fallen off, I will talk about the stand. Unfortunately, this guy does not like to stay on his stand. I don't know whether that's a balancing issue with the figure as a whole, or whether it's an issue with my figure. However, it does like to fall off, but he will stay on, and I don't know whether you can see that, but he does wobble on the stand. So I'm going to try and be as careful as I can with this guy in his jet mode, but as you can see, it is one hell of a spaceship mode. This guy is huge as well. He's about a commando with a Voyager class stuck on the end. So you've got the blast effects, which are just on these cannons, but they can go on other parts, such as the front cannons here, the big cannon as well. Of course, you've got his little gun at the top here. You've got the two guns, as I said, on the back. You've got a fair few sets of wings. You've got Star Saber's little tiny wings here, and Victory Leo's big wings at the back. You've got a little Saber at the front. Yeah, this guy looks absolutely incredible. Lovely colour on this guy as well. Really nice paint job. So his shield is just stored on top, and that's just on a 5mm peg and port. And his handle for his shield has also come off, and they are just 5mm with a bunch of 5mm ports for however you want to have it. I always just have my shield like so. So to detach Victory Leo from Star Saber, I'm going to try and do this as best I can to showcase this off. I'll probably just take off these guns just to make it a little easier to look at. So to detach Victory Leo, you just want to pop this top part up, as well as detach him from the legs, and he's just on a couple of clips, those red clips going into that part of Star Saber there. So we'll put Victory Leo to one side for a moment. We'll just clean Star Saber up a little bit, and hopefully he will go on his stand a little bit better now that he hasn't got that huge weight on him. The stand port is absolute garbage. That is the one thing I will say I do not like about this figure in shuttle mode. It is absolutely garbage. So I'm just going to put that to one side. So he's got his V-lock cannon, and that is just a lovely, lovely, massive gun with a C-clip there and a 5mm port there and a 5mm port there, along with some pegs on the sides. And yeah, it just looks really cool. Of course, that was one of the tier unlocks, which is a bit daft really. You've got Saber's gun, or Star Saber's gun, which is a bit small for Star Saber, but it does look pretty cool, and it looks perfect in Saber's hand. So we will get to those in a bit in robot mode. Victory Leo. So I always have the head pointing down, or pointing up, sorry, when he's in his sort of jet carrier mode, which this is one of the modes that he has, which is just a block with wings and a couple of guns on top, which, yeah, it looks kind of crap, but for combination mode, it looks alright. So to get him into his lion mode, put it around his head, point these guns the other way. You can keep the wings however you want, I like them out. And then just bring his paws down and just angle them however you want. And the back legs, these will just rotate down and unclip. And same on the other side. If it wants to play around with me. And you have a blocky lion. I'll be honest, it looks decent. I mean, if we got this as a Voyager class, I wouldn't be complaining, but I think it definitely needed to happen as a Haslab item for it to be at least substantial enough for this guy to do some cool things. So one of the issues that I did have with my figure is these cannon parts at the front. You can probably just see some residue from where I've attached them back on with a bit of plastic glue. These would fall off quite frequently, unfortunately, but the cannons do look really cool. Lion head as well is really cool, and I've just realised I forgot to bring his tusks down ever so slightly. But his head sculpt's really nice blue eyes. Overall, just really nice lion mode, other than the fact that his butt's a bit blocky, but it's understandable considering the figure. So his head is just on a really daft ball joint, so you can get a little bit of wiggle there. Tilt, so you can get a confused lion head if you want. His wings can flap however you want those to be. His shoulders on his front paws are on universal, so you got a nice bit of movement there. Got a little bit of paw movement as well, so you can get some really nice poses in with that. His back legs are just on hinges, hinge for the toe, and a hinge for that bit there, which is a bit stiff. That's mainly for transformation. But overall, Victory Leo himself does look really nice. Getting into Star Saber himself, he looks really nice. Like I said, with combined mode, he looks absolutely incredible. He looks exactly as he should. If I just bring in another big giant, you can see sort of the scale on these guys. Siege Jetfire, Star Saber, they're about the same sort of size. They're both hefty boys, although Jetfire is a bit more weighty. So I would certainly say that with the Victory Leo, he certainly feels a bit more like a substantial commander, like some of those earlier ones. But yeah, his shuttle mode is just absolutely incredible. We've got the thrusters at the back. So we'll have a look at Little Saber. So to get to Saber, just bring these panels down, and there's a button on the top or on the back. You press down, it just releases Saber from that mechanism there, which you can just see moving. And you can use that as a little hoverboard for this boy if you want in robot mode. Bring his wings down, bring these tail fins down as well, or up I should say, and there you have Little Saber in his little jet mode. And yeah, this guy looks really nice. Of course, the chrome on here looks great. A couple of specs where it's come off when it was in package, fairly common with this figure unfortunately. But overall, it's not a bad little jet mode. There is a cockpit which you can store the little Brave Master inside. And this guy is very small, but a nice bit of paint, nice bit of mould in there. I will say the head for Saber is done in clear plastic, so you do have to be a bit careful with the hinge on this guy. But yeah, a nice little bit of articulation on this tiny guy as well.
Transformation for Saber is actually quite nice and simple. There's a few hallmarks here that definitely scream Combiner Wars and Titan's Return. Fortunately, those ball joints do pop off. They are a little stiff. A lot of the joints on this guy are quite stiff and some loose as well. That's purely just down to the fact that I never really take this guy out of just being the chest of Star Saber. But it is a very nice, interesting transformation. Certainly different.
Here we have Saber in his robot mode, and I've got to say, this guy does look good. However, he is very small. He's about the same size as an old school Scout. That's probably what I would say. He's about the same height as Fry's Cliff Jumper. He's quite small, but he does look good. Of course, I've got his shield attached to his arm with Star Saber's rifle, which I do prefer to have on Saber. Like you saw, his ball joints aren't the best and the most stable, but he does look good. Of course, some nice yellow painted highlights, silver painted highlights, and some white painted highlights on this guy. Yeah, he just looks absolutely gorgeous. He looks great. Like I said, his height is quite small. I mean, comes up to Prime's hips. For his size, he does certainly pack a punch. Of course, he's got his ball jointed shoulders, which I am a little hesitant to try and move, but as you can see, there is also a hinge there. We've also got nice mushroom peg for the bicep, which was a bit stiff, so I'm a bit hesitant as well with that, considering the ball joints do need to be stiffened up a bit. It's got a nice bend at the elbow. His hands are on ball joints, so you can get a nice bit of motion there. Again, very stiff. Got a nice waist at the waist rotation there. His head does rotate, can only go so far due to his little Brave Master in there, which moves with him, just like so. And yeah, as you can see, it is clear plastic, so I'm a bit hesitant to try and transform that little dude. His hips are on universal, so you can get a nice range of motion there. Mushroom peg for the rotation there, as well as a nice knee. Got a nice ankle tilt there for the feet, and a little bit of a toe dip. So it's not too bad. Before I do go any further, I want to take a little look at these little guys. This being Holly, the police car, and Fire, the fire truck. These were another bonus with the Haslab Star Saber, done in really nice plastic and paint for these guys. Really nice glossy white with a glossy black paint for Holly. Those light bars on top, nice teal blue for the windscreen as well. And Fire done in that lovely rich cherry red, nice white highlight. Transformation on these guys is really simple. It is just a case of pop the leg off, not pop the legs down, but pop the legs off, I guess. Yep, legs are just going to pop off. Pop the hood back, like so, and pop the hands out. And Fire, bring his hose back, and that just flips back in. His arms will then come down and get it in shot. And then his legs will do exactly the same thing. Fold these down, again on ball joints and hinges, so they will, here you have Fire. These guys do look great. These are really nice Micromasters. Again, Micromasters being Micromasters, they are tiny, they're on ball joints, so they're going to pop off a bit, but you can just pop them back on. But these guys do look great. Nice bit of paint, really nice sculpt for these guys.
Transformation for Victory Leo is definitely simplistic. It's your bog standard sort of, not really Beast Wars, but just sort of G1 or G1ified beast into robot. You know, fold up the legs and fold out legs.
Here we have Victory Leo in his robot mode. I've got to say, this guy looks incredible. The yellow, the chrome gold, black, the white and the red really makes this guy pop. Really does make him look like a mech from that early 90s era when Gundam was about. He looks absolutely incredible. Of course, his main weapon is, of course, the V-Lock cannon, which you can attach to his hip there, or any of the other ports, but for me, it looks a bit better on the Victory Saber rather than on this guy. Articulation wise on this guy, of course, I mentioned he has his ball joint for his head. You can get a bit of a confused look on this guy. The arms are pretty much the same as before, except you have a mushroom peg, but it is quite tight on the hand. You've got really nice ratchets for the hips, really strong ratchets there. You do have that connection there, which is more for transformation, so it will end up splitting on you during transformation and while trying to pose this guy. You also have a nice mushroom peg there for that joint there, a nice bend at the knee, and unfortunately the legs do like to untab. And his feet, you've got a nice bit of a toe dip as well as an ankle pivot. Overall, not a bad figure for articulation. Of course, he is slightly taller than Optimus here, so slightly taller than your average Voyager class figure, more of a leader class figure if you really want to push it that far.
Going into Star Saber has probably got to be one of my favourite transformations in this entire combined set. It is so fun. Folding up those legs to form the chest from Saber, taking the head off and putting it on Saber to give Star Saber his iconic head. It's just so cool. The arms and the legs for the main core of the robot it's just a case of pulling them out of the joints. The feet on mine, for some reason, are a little too tight and a little too stiff. Something that I definitely need to file down, but honestly, the transformation is so smooth and sublime on this guy.
And here we have Star Saber, the main attraction, in his robot mode, and oh my god, this guy looks absolutely incredible. He is definitely one of those figures that in person looks absolutely gorgeous. The chrome, the red, the white, the blue, the yellow, it just looks absolutely incredible. This guy is certainly one of those pieces that is just a statement piece. Transformation, as you saw, can be a little bit finicky and a little bit brutal in some places, especially with the feet, trying to get that foot snapped in. I do need to file down that little bit there, just so it fits a little bit more, well, not so much snug, but flips up past it a little bit better. Honestly, this guy looks absolutely amazing. So one thing you will notice is his hands. They are exactly the same as Commander Jetfire's. By opening it, that little port there that has the 5mm port closes in, which is quite nice, which is pretty cool. I will say one thing, his arms definitely look a little long on Star Saber here, but that's mainly for proportions with Victory Saber, so I don't really mind it too much. Accessory wise, of course, you have his gun, which he can hold, which looks a bit better on him than Saber, but I still think Star Saber with a gun kind of looks a bit silly. The guy is known for being probably one of the best swordsmen in Transformers mythos. Of course, you have his shield, which he can hold, or he has this bit here, which will clip onto his hand or his arm, just like so. It certainly looks a bit better, so you can have his shield on there. If we bring in Saber's shield, which is actually his hilt, extend it, you have the main hilt for the sword, and you can hide or store the blade just in his leg here. I'm being a bit careful with this sword because the handle or the part that connects to the hilt, you can just see I had to glue it back on because it decided to snap on me. Another piece that snapped on me, and you can push that in however which way you want. You can have it like that, or you can have it like this, which is certainly the way that I prefer to have mine displayed at an edge like that. And the sword itself looks absolutely incredible, and you can just hold that like so, the blade will pop out. Unfortunately, that is how my blade snapped, by having it end up snapping because of that gimmick. But he can hold his sword and he looks great with it. He looks absolutely incredible with it. You can bring in the stand and you can utilize that port there, and there is a port just there. Will just go in, and the stand can then be used for Star Saber, but I'll use that more for Victory Saber. Articulation wise on this guy, his head can go up and down ever so slightly. Same sort of range in terms of rotation for the head because it is attached to Saber's head. You have a lovely butterfly joint here. You've got lovely ratcheted universals for his shoulder. You can have his arm spread out as well, just about that far. Nice bicep rotation with a double bend at the elbow there. His hands can rotate. Like I said, the hand can open and close. You can also get a little bit extra on the wrist there, so you can get him in some nice sweeping poses with his sword. One thing I do like about this guy is he does have an ab crunch, which is very nice to see. Move his arms out the way and his skirts out the way, which are individually articulated. You can get to the hips, which are really nice solid ratchets there. Nice rotation there. Lovely bend at the knee. A little bit of toe articulation, and it can go up and down, but like I said, with my figure, the toes are a little bit of a menace. But overall, it is a lovely representation of this figure. Not quite the masterpiece, but honestly, it is an incredible, incredible figure.
And here we have it, the final transformation. Just rip Victory Leo apart into 3 pieces, the main body becoming the jetpack for Victory Saber, and the legs becoming the feet of Victory Leo. Everything snaps on really nice and really satisfying, and it's just a pleasure to transform, especially going from the full combined vehicle mode into the full combined robot mode. It's so smooth, so seamless, and it is definitely one of my favourite transformations. Nice and complex, but fairly simple, and it just all fits really well together. Of course, bringing the stand helps this figure, certainly with its stability. This guy is very big. He is also quite weighty. But yeah, just line everything up, clip it in place, and the completed article just looks good.
Yeah, this guy's just cool. He's big and he just looks absolutely incredible in this mode. He looks great. He honestly does. He has all the same articulation, all the same cool things with him from both modes. And honestly, this guy is just absolutely amazing. And one thing I will mention, for storage, myself, I like to put Saber's little gun either on one of these ports or in one of Victory Leo's hands here, just to make it easy, and his gun is just stored on the back. It certainly makes it easy, but yeah, this guy looks absolutely incredible. Of course, we can bring in the V-lock cannon, flip that down. Now you can push these parts down as well if you so want, which are more guards for the arms, but honestly I think it limits his articulation a bit. That will just go into his hand, and he has his V-lock cannon, and this thing honestly looks absolutely incredible. This guy looks wicked. Just for the added, we'll give him his blast effects, and man, this guy just it really looks cool. I'm glad that I got this figure because honestly it just looks really cool. It's something you would only expect them to do for either masterpiece or third party. Yeah, this guy's just so cool, and I'm glad that I got the chance to pick up one. Of course, size wise is Jetfire and Robot mode, and they are pretty much on par with each other with how big he is. And of course, here's Prime as well. I'm bringing my G1 Deathsaurus, which I've recently picked up, and yeah, I can't wait until we get that Haslab Deathsaurus, because these two are going to look so cool beside each other. They honestly will. Victory Saber on its own is honestly one of those pieces that if you don't have and you're umming and ahhing over it, I definitely say go for it. It is such a great figure. Yeah, you'll be paying a bit more for this figure now, but it is honestly such a great figure.
Hey Jetfire, my name is Star Saber. What do you mean your name isn't Jetfire? You look like Jetfire. No, I am not Jetfire, I am Star Saber. Star Saber? Well, that sounds like Wing Saber. You two related? No, I'm not related to Wing Saber. Well, your name's Jetfire from now on. You look like Jetfire. Oh, for God's sake.
When it comes down to it, I can understand why people don't quite like this figure. There are certain QC issues that were pretty unforgivable, but honestly, this guy is one of those figures. Like I said, I can't recommend it any more than I have. It is pretty much a statement piece. It is absolutely incredible, and I can't wait until the new Deathsaurus comes out in just little over than a month.
Yeah, little over than a month. Yeah, thanks Hasbro. Yeah, they've just let us know that Deathsaurus will be out in February of next year. So that statement's no longer true. Thanks Hasbro.
So that's been my look at the Haslab Victory Saber. I've got to say, it is such a cool figure, and it is honestly probably one of my favourite pieces to just look at. It's stunning. It really is. But if you have enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed Prime Month, which is sadly over for this year, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. And I'm sure Prime Month will return in a year's time. If you guys enjoyed this, then why don't you head over to Leicester Vintage Toy Shop channel and check out their Toy Shop on Tour series, as we follow Joe and Gav's adventure around the UK and Europe, exploring new toy shops and collecting some old toys.
Action figures, dolls, Star Wars, weird stuff, Transformers, monsters, space toys.